So we are at stage 1 at this point. We've covered the existing hive with cardboard, and the bees are just kind of piling up saying, hey, why can't I get back in my hive? In a minute, I'm going to open that hole up and they'll be able to get in and out again. But then I'm going to put this cone over the top of it so that they can come out, but then they can't get back in. And the goal is to get all the bees out and into a temporary hive, which is actually sitting under that cone at the moment, and so that they leave the tree. And of course we want to save both the bees and the tree, is the objective here. Okay, we've cut a hole in the outer layer so that the bees can get back in the hive, and you can see that the bees are no longer piling up at the entrance. They're moving in and out. And that's what we want at this stage, because I'm about to put a cover over that's going to prevent them from getting back in, at which point they're going to pile up again. Okay, we've got the opening cut, and now we've also built a platform to put what's called our capture hive on. So all we've got is a couple of 2x4s set up so that the platform, so that the capture hive is level and pointed slightly toward the entrance, so that debris that builds up in the hive will tend to fall out toward the entrance. We also want that hive, of which this is the bottom board, this is the floor of the hive. We want that hive as close to the entrance, the original entrance, as possible. And so there you have it. We're continuing the project, and we've got the platform built, and we're about to put the beehive on it. This is a 10-frame beehive, and it's called a Langstroth, who is the inventor of the hive. Interesting story about him: he was a monk back in the Middle Ages who, prior to the invention of this hive, what we used to do is destroy trees to get at the honey in this situation. And he actually invented spacing and margins within the hive so that the bees would build their comb exactly in these frames and nowhere else in the hive. And there was actually a lot of work that went into that, but this is a 10-frame Langstroth hive, and pretty interesting stuff in the construction and development and how this hive came about. But he was a monk, and his goal was actually to save the bees, not unlike the goals that we have today of saving bees that are in trouble due to a number of reasons. So we're going to put that hive on the platform and go from there. So this is the hive on the platform, and it's actually going to look a little bit different, at least until I get this 2x4 cut, because we have a couple of aspects of this hive that are important to hive construction. One is there's what's called a spacer board at the top of the hive. I don't know how well you can see this, but it's a board that fits right on. And then the lid telescopes, fits over the top of that spacer board. Sorry, trying to work the camera and that. Alright, and you can see that I made one little calculation error, and that is that my 2x4 is too long. And so until I can get out here and cut that down, I'm going to just leave this lid on the hive upside down. And as long as it doesn't rain, it won't drop water and everybody will be happy. So we're going to leave the lid on the hive upside down for now, so that we can continue the project, and we'll come back later and cut this 2x4. Okay, every science project has some amount of artistic endeavor within it, and this is no exception. So what we're doing here is we've created a cone so that the bees, when they come out of the hive, they can't find their way back in. And you can see they're very successfully coming out of the cone. And you can see a bunch of bees flying around at the hive trying to get back in the hive. And the reason this works is bees work by scent. Bees find their hive by scent. They know the smell of the hive, and as soon as they smell the hive, they fly towards it. And so, because this is a screen, they fly toward the smell of the hive, and they can't find their way back in. Now the plan is that they will find their way back over to this other hive after flying out the top of the cone. And the intent is that this cone is far enough away that they don't find their way back in it. I guess that's the ways that bees work, and the way to extract a beehive from a living tree. Okay, we've captured the swarm at the bottom of this hive with the bees attempting to get in, and they're not very happy about having been captured, and so there are a lot flying around. But we then took the bucket and dumped it into this hive, and so there are now about 2,000 bees in this hive, and what's happening is very interesting. Let me zoom in. See those bees there that are flapping their wings furiously at the entrance of the hive? That's a behavior called scenting. And so what they're doing is they're signaling the rest of the bees, hey, the hive is over here. Come over here and find the hive. This one on this end is doing it as well. I don't have as good an angle on it. But that's a very good sign. That's saying that all the bees are coming into the hive. And you can see, or the bees are starting to establish this as a hive, and you can see the large number of bees that are also flying in on the landing board and crawling into the hive. And that is also a very good, very important sign. So hopefully this hive capture is on the way, and you can even see bees are now migrating from the bottom. I don't know how well you can see it, but bees are now migrating from the hive entrance. They're coming across the paper here, across the tree, and to the new hive. So all good. This looks good. I need to get out of here because, as you can see, there are many, many angry bees. They have established themselves in a new hive, but they're not real happy about it. So there you have it. Okay, we are 36 hours into this project, and the cone seems to be working very well. Bees are still coming out of it. As you can see, one making its way out there. And it doesn't appear that any are getting in. So that's the cone. And it is Monday, 36 hours after the start of the project. This is the capture hive. And you can see we're getting a lot of activity in the capture hive. But we still have this amount of bees sitting underneath the comb. So what we're going to do is we're going to sugar spray those and then shake them off and put them in the bucket and put them in the top of the hive.